What's up, Republic of Gamers? Hello, and welcome to RG Pulse, the weekly podcast where we dive into all things tech and gaming. My name is Jake Kalinsky, and this week we've got Whitson Gordon and Jeff Campman on the mic to talk about your gaming and tech news, but also your biggest sins, all you sinful people, when building a new PC setup, because we've all done this. I've made a lot of mistakes when building a machine as a novice, but also, later years you forget, or you try to cut a corner and you try to get away with something that you think is going to be good, and it might say it's going to be enough, but then it's not. And that's kind of what partially led us here. And we'll get to that soon.
I've got a list as long as a CVS receipt of the mistakes I've made over the years.
CVS receipts. It's been a while since I got a CVS receipt, but they print like 10 coupons on the bottom, I assume.
Yeah, basically.
Okay, sweet.
Or advertisements.
Right. Get your flu shots now.
I got my flu shot. Did you guys get your flu shot?
I need to. I really should.
It helps that I live like 2 feet away from a Rite Aid.
Yeah.
So not diving deep into the flu shot discussion, but I don't feel comfortable getting one, and for not the reason you'd think. It's because they actually make the flu shot using chicken egg, and I'm allergic to egg.
It's fair.
I've gotten it before, but I felt really, really awful. And I don't.
Yeah, the flu shot's generally not supposed to do that to you, I don't think.
Yeah.
Make you feel awful.
Yeah, with that allergy, I'm just gonna. I haven't had that allergy my whole life. I should clarify that. It's something I developed.
Right.
So no flu shot for me, and that kind of sucks. I wish they had a different version, but I don't think they do.
That's really interesting. Things I would not have thought about.
Things you learn on technology podcasts.
My favorite technology podcasts are the ones that just veer way off course. Start talking about like the best techniques for grilling steak or whatever.
Hell yeah.
It happens.
Well,
Maybe next time.
The way you do that, Whitson, is you throw it in a sous vide and get it up to temperature, and then you throw it on the grill at the end.
I know.
Speaking of grilling, this is totally off topic. My parents bought me a outdoor pizza stove. It's like a wood fire pizza
you were
thing.
Telling us about that.
And I finally used it. I haven't. Kept not.
Now that
using
it's
it.
winter, you're cooking pizza outside.
Yeah. Now that it's like 50 to 30 degrees Fahrenheit, I'm like, all right, it's finally adequate to go outside and cook things. And it's actually really cool. We made naan instead of pizza. Actually, we did a big Indian like feast, and it heats up to about 750 degrees, which isn't quite as hot as like a tandoori would get. I think tandooris get up to like 850. Yeah. Obviously, I don't own a tandoori, but it worked really well. It's obviously a sense of mastery. You have to rotate it a lot. It cooks really fast. You're talking like 45 seconds. It's in there, and that's it.
Wow.
And pizzas are supposed to cook in like a minute 20, I think, for a pizza.
Yeah.
It's like, and that's it. But really cool, really a lot of fun, and we're gonna do.
My mouth is watering now.
Yeah, I want me one of those. So,
yeah,
we talk about a lot of food.
It's awesome that you
finally found time. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
All right, so couple things to just kind of get on the table. YouTube guys, I know you guys love typing in exclamation mark keyboard and capture, but unfortunately those commands won't work on YouTube for complicated reasons. And all those commands do work on Twitch. If you want to tune in on our Twitch channel, it's twitch.tv/AsusROG, and we will be doing giveaways on the Twitch channel.
Yeah.
Twitch only though.
We don't bite Twitch. We don't bite on Twitch. Which is an awesome community. We have an awesome community on Twitch. Thank you, Jake and Whitson.
I mean, you're part of that too, man. Don't act like you don't.
I've been here for like 2 months. You were doing that long before I was. Actually, it's been like 4 months now.
So it's an awesome community on Twitch. Come and join us, and
that's the keyword. Shouldn't be on the screen yet. I'm a jerk, but it will be the keyword.
Jake.
Type in 25
Misleading.
minutes. I know. I'm getting everyone excited for the giveaway that's happening in 25 minutes.
I didn't even see the keyword. It wasn't spoiled for me.
I'm sure someone saw it. I got very clever today. Now, I actually watched a Halo video this morning, and I was thinking of Halo.
Dude, we've got some good games coming up. I'm super pumped for Forza Horizon on Tuesday. It's getting like really good reviews, and I'm just like, yes, bring it on. I'm so ready.
I might dabble.
I just started playing Forza Horizon 4 like a year ago.
Yeah.
See, if I can get like a clutch, right? No, I have the pedals. So I just need a racing
Need a
wheel, and then I need a shifter or whatever those are called.
I think it plays beautifully with a controller, personally, but a wheel would be sweet for sure.
Yeah. Not going to play a
But
simulation
I'm even
game
worse
without-
at driving than I am at video games. So
God.
I don't know if that would work out well for me.
So for the giveaways,
I-
they're digital, so they're worldwide. Yes, just for the question.
I liked 4 a lot, and so I'm now that I have Game
Super
Pass.
fun.
Now that I have Game Pass, I'm like, yeah, let's get this. It's don't even have to think about it. We'll just do it.
Yep. I've already pre-downloaded it on my PC. Like, it's ready to go day
I'm
one.
gonna have to make some. Yeah, I'm gonna have to make some space, but.
Yeah, it's like 100 gigs. I had enough space, but it was. It's on my smaller PC.
I'm gonna end up with another 2 terabyte or 4 terabyte SSD at some point because I just hate deleting stuff.
I do too, but I've gotten better at it. I also am one of those people that only plays like a couple games at a time, so it's not that hard for me to keep things clean.
I'm personally like waiting for those Black Friday sales, hoping for some good M.2 deals because I want to slap a second one in my machine, and I want to put one in my PS5. So because PS5 storage, I feel it's the worst thing of that console. You can't download more than like 3 games. It's like, oh, you're out of storage. Like, well, this sucks. Whereas my PC, I've got multiple terabytes to play with, so it's.
But I like that at least it comes with the built-in expansion as opposed to like having to use an external drive or something. Like, that is nice. It is nice. I wish there were a little bit more internal storage, but still a step in the right direction. But other gaming news.
Yeah.
A lot of games are not coming out anytime soon.
I mean, Blizzard can't catch a break this year. They've just been with all the drama that's been going on. In fact, it's not just like the drama that's there, but they've been getting like poached like crazy, and a lot of new studios are popping up. So I look at this as a positive. There's so much talent that has been consolidated within Blizzard Entertainment that we're now seeing all these new studios popping up. And I actually planned on doing a whole deep dive on this conversation because this is my life. Blizzard games is what I grew up on. I'm so close to that company. I've been to their headquarters dozens of times, and it's always felt like home to me. And we're now kind of entering this second. I'm calling this the second glory age of PC gaming. This is the way that I am hoping that where we're going, where companies like Valve are starting to show signs of making games again. We got Half-Life Alyx, and it was, by the way, incredible. If you haven't played it, it's a legendary experience. And now we've got these other studios like Dreamhaven popping up, and Frost Giant, and I cannot remember the name of this one. It's anyways, there's a lot of different studios popping up, snatching up a lot of these Blizzard employees. So people are jumping ship. They're leaving Overwatch. They're leaving Diablo. Diablo and Overwatch have both seen delays. My guess is that it's due to basically losing staff. I believe we've seen announcements that multiple game leads have left those titles. We know, I almost said Jeff Kaplan. Jeff Kaplan has left the Overwatch team. That was a while ago, and then I think their next game lead left. And then I think Jen O'Neill, the co-president of Blizzard, just stepped down or announced she's stepping down. So it's
I'm hoping that this is a minor speed bump. Or a major speed bump, but a speed bump. I love Overwatch, and so I still really want to see.
Well, the thing is, at the end of the day, is Blizzard has some of the most iconic IPs, period. So while this is definitely a speed bump, and they kind of need to go dark for a little while and figure things out, as someone who has played Diablo 4, I played at the last BlizzCon, which might be the last BlizzCon ever. Sad to think that, but I hope not. Game is incredible. It was so very good, and I hope to play it, in 2023, its new release date, which is also what we're looking at for
Overwatch 2.
For Overwatch 2 as well. Yeah. Which I'm personally not excited for.
I guess I'll get more of my money's worth out of Overwatch 1 with a whole nother year to play it. There's a positive spin.
Yeah. I don't know. From the beginning.
I love Overwatch. Of course you don't, Jake. You and I don't share any games in common.
No, it's not that I don't like Overwatch. I love Overwatch. I was very involved in the game for a while. I find the whole we live in an era where live design of video games is the more common way to approach games. You release a title and then you support that title. And then you release content and you monetize.
Do you think
content.
having a second
Call it Overwatch 2 is just weird in this day and age. It's like trying to sell an expansion pack. Why would you brand something as an expansion pack? An expansion pack was a physical disc that gave you an additional campaign that you would buy and you would do. And nowadays it's just there's like we have different business models, battle passes, stuff like that just work better and seem better than, hey, no, you need to pay another $60 for a game, which to me feels I don't see any strong reason. And they say it's because the engine is stronger, is better now, but it doesn't.
I've assumed it was for technical reasons in the same way that, correct me if I'm wrong, because I never actually played through all these, but like over time, like World of Warcraft, as expansions came out, they upped like the graphical abilities of the game, right? For more modern hardware, even though these games, Overwatch 2, are designed to run on a wide swath of PC hardware. It's still improving over time. You don't necessarily want to run, especially if a game's going to be popular for years and years and years and years, you don't necessarily want to run it with the lowest common denominator from 5-10 years ago, right?
Sure,
you want to update it. And I think that having that like sequel designation kind of helps that move on while the original game can still kind of exist in its own right for posterity's sake, or for people who are still running really old hardware or whatever. I get it.
Those updates to like water quality and weather effects and stuff to World of Warcraft might have came timed with an expansion, but they weren't reliant on having the expansion. Everyone got it, right? It was just an update in hardware. I mean, that's not necessarily true for Overwatch 2. And Overwatch 1 and 2 will be backwards compatible.
It is a little different.
That's just my personal pet peeve. The whole thing felt weird. Calling it Overwatch 2 felt weird. They should have just called it Overwatch something. They could have branded it sexier than calling it Overwatch 2, because it just, in this day and age,
they should have just called it Sexy Overwatch.
There you go.
Problem solved. The giveaway commands don't seem to be working in chat. The exclamation commands for anything. So guys, just so you know, giveaway, we'll be giving away $20 Games Planet vouchers. The timer is up here.
Yep.
Just watch it, and when it gets to 0, we'll explain what's going on. I don't know why those aren't working. Sorry, guys.
I can investigate while we ramble, but
yeah, we could talk about Overwatch all day, but
I'm excited. We're gonna be waiting a while though. That's the thing.
Yep. But I'll be there when it happens.
If I tell the bot to leave the server and rejoin the server, maybe that will solve the problem.
Omni's being a brat.
He's being a brat.
That is his personality.
Kinda. If you didn't know, Omni is one of our ROG characters. He's a little, I don't want to call him annoying, but he's a pest.
No, I literally think in the text of like his character description that we wrote, it says he had a bratish personality. That is like his actual descriptor. That's not just me being a jerk. That's who Omni is.
Okay. And in other news, we can talk a little bit about the VR space. And I think a lot of people have really just kind of agreed that Oculus Quest 2 is like the headset to get if you don't own a headset. And one of the biggest,
straight up,
yeah, that's what pretty much everyone says. I don't own one. And one of the big things for me is just the Facebook requirement. I just kind of was like, that's such a annoying thing that I'm almost like just mad about it. So I don't want to support your device. Do I have a Facebook account? Yeah. Do I use it? No. And I just don't want to deal with that.
Same.
They're removing
that. I just logged in.
Yeah.
It's weird that they're removing it now. Like, I'm surprised that they're like, with this whole push for like Meta and all of this stuff, it seems weird to back out of it now and not before. When Oculus was kind of like this side thing for Facebook.
I wouldn't be surprised if they launch a Meta store where it's a Steam competitor for VR.
Yeah.
A Meta marketplace.
And they want to open it up to everyone, not just those with Facebook.
Yeah, that would be the smart way to do it, in my opinion.
Well, you know what? Cool. If anyone was on the fence about an Oculus for that reason, now you have no excuse, because it's seriously amazing. Once you do VR untethered, it's really hard to go back. Even with the better graphics and stuff, it's really hard to go back. It's the instantaneousness of the Quest 2. You put it on and you're in game like immediately. No futzing with stuff. Whew, it's tough, and you can still plug in when you want to. That's the beauty. Like with a USB-C cable, you can plug in and play Steam VR games still.
I'm just like, well, I don't know. I have a corner case. I'm full of corner cases. So I think, I do think for most people, not having to have the base station set up and not having to have like certainly the room scale tracking for the original Oculus Rift was atrocious. So like just being able to strap it on and go, it's like the Keurig of VR, convenience outweighs all else. So
I mean, I don't mind the base stations personally. I can see how that
the base
would be
stations are fine.
A downside for a lot of people. It really depends on if you have like a room where you can.
Right. If you've got an office where you don't care about that being in the wall, sure. If you're living in a studio apartment with just your living room, you don't necessily want to have these base stations.
Or a spouse that doesn't want them on the walls.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I kind of have my office is a mad scientist space. I still have my base stations on light stands. There are cables running all over the place, and that's just how it is. But the only dent is like, I mean, if you're thinking about it being an advanced VR user and you want to do like full body tracking or something like that.
Then
you have to go live. Upgrade. Yeah.
And I'm not saying there's not a place for the Vive or the Index because they're both amazing. If you just want to get in, the Quest plus a link cable, if you have a decent GPU, is I actually haven't tried one. I really want to do so now, but it's really easy. It works really well.
What's the image? Whitson, you have one?
Yeah, I have the Quest 1 and I reviewed the Quest 2 when it came out.
What's the image quality like? What's the resolution like?
Oh gosh, I don't remember the numbers off the top of my head anymore because I used to like review all the VR headsets for IGN when I was freelancing, and now it's like a lot of that information has left my brain.
I'm just curious where the state of the art is with that, because of the that it is truly the most accessible VR headset.
So here's the thing. You know what? I mean, look. The resolution is just one component of it too, right? Because I remember when I reviewed the Quest, the resolution of the Quest I think was like higher than the Vive or something, but the image quality was still lower because it's just running off this little Snapdragon SoC.
Right.
So image quality as a whole is definitely like a downgrade from PC.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So it's
for most of the games you play, it's not something that you really notice or care about that much.
Right. Okay, so it's like 2K per eye. That's pretty good. 90 hertz. Okay, that's pretty good.
For me,
it's just like I'm just like, if I forget the Snapdragon unless you're anywhere. It's like, okay, just hook it up to the PC. Anyway,
HS High Score says skip to the Intel news, guys.
We'll get there.
We're not talking a ton about it today, but
next week
we have something special for you.
Next week we got some special.
We can just announce it. We've got two engineers from
that's
Intel joining us on Pulse next week to dive in deep, and we've never had anything like that. Like two engineers, that have worked on this product, that know it in and out, going to be jumping on the show. So for our Intel deep dive, one week from today. 1 week from today. Yep. They'll be doing. So that'll be really good.
The Alder Lake reviews came out today and they're good.
Yes,
I'm
they
pretty
did.
excited. It's a big day for CPUs.
There's a lot to dig into there.
Yeah, and we will.
Yes.
Next week.
I'm really considering making that jump, but we'll see. I'm gonna wait to actually
I think you're good, Jake. Honestly, with 12 cores, but
never have too many cores.
Yeah.
I actually have more cores than I need. I'm okay. Should we move on to tech news?
Yeah.
I thought I had one more.
We did. We just took so long talking about Diablo and Overwatch. My bad, guys.
It's okay. Oh, yeah, just a little tiny thing. Resident Evil Village, a game that I thoroughly enjoyed earlier this year. They announced they're bringing out some free DLC, so that is good news because I've been wanting to revisit that game anyways. I thought it was really good. So looking forward to that. On the tech side of things, do we want to talk a little bit about Intel or just like what the reviews are saying? Like, what have you guys been...
The reviews are saying it's good, guys. Alder Lake is good.
Like a huge jump from 11th gen, or
I think it's supposed to be their biggest generational jump in like a decade or something.
So okay, so I'm just gonna do this because it's impossible to discuss this any other way. But so if you're okay, so the thing as a former CPU reviewer, what you're looking for is, there's a couple big things that you're looking for. Just as a general thing. And the first, obviously the biggest thing is per core performance, right?
Yep.
Because like not everything is multi-threadable. Not everything can take advantage of 8 cores or 16 cores or however many cores. Your JavaScript in your browser is largely just stuck on one processing thread. And so how quickly a single core can process that task is, it's critical to how responsive your PC feels. If a game has like a big gnarly thread doing all the syncing of like character, just world data and all that stuff before displaying it, like that's as fast as the game can run, right? Is how fast that thread can be processed. So that really matters. And so the single core performance of Alder Lake is the best on the market. So that's a
really
huge
good.
thing. That's a huge thing. Like
it was like getting better Cinebench scores than CPUs with more cores than it, wasn't it?
Right.
Like which is
I can't speak to that. I don't really pay attention to Cinebench. It's fine.
A lot
it's
of people
cool.
don't.
Yeah, I know. It's
crazy.
cool that it can do that. It's cool that it can do that for sure. But everybody's like, oh well, AMD, Apple, they have next generation core designs. They have the single threaded performance lead, and this thoroughly puts Intel back on top. So,
do you think the thread director
cool.
is gonna be a big deal? Oh, did my OBS just kill itself? I think Discord decided to crash or I disconnected. Interesting.
Are you back?
I think so. I think my internet decided to implode. If we are truly back, which I believe that we are, Jeff, what I wanted to ask was about the thread director. And if you think it'll be a big deal.
I don't think you're not sharing your video or anything.
Yeah. Hold on.
Because he's not sharing his video with us doesn't mean.
No, everything is on fire. My internet seems to be struggling at the moment, which is uncommon. In fact, I don't know the last time this happened.
Yeah, this has never happened.
This has never happened. Well, we do have the layout now.
It seems that Jake is live, but we're not there.
Yeah, the internet is well. That was me fixing that. It took a moment, but it shows that I'm still dropping frames.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we are live. I can see the stream is live, so it might not look super buttery smooth. Wait, are we stable? No, we're still dropping a little bit of frames. Very strange. I think we continue because we're live. So Jeff.
Yes, we're live. Okay, yeah. So we were talking about the thread director. I was going to say let's save that discussion for next week because I want to talk to the people who made it.
Fair enough.
And really get into why that exists. I do think the preliminary benchmarks show there's not a huge difference between Windows 10 and Windows 11 performance, but that wasn't really surprising.
I think that's going to probably change.
Yeah, that may change with time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think again, if you're looking at a CPU like this, you're just the other big thing is DDR5 memory, and shout out to AnonTech. Hey, Ian. Good work. There is a performance uplift from DDR5 too. I haven't actually dug that deep into it to see how huge it is across the board, but it is there. And that is again the case for like maybe using DDR5 instead of DDR4 because the CPUs can use both. We have motherboards that can use both, but if you're looking for maximum performance,
we have
probably
motherboards that can use either.
We have motherboards that can use either.
No motherboards that can use both, but we have some motherboards for DDR4 and some that can use
what I mean.
And
you know what I mean.
Yes, I just wanted to make sure
it's good to clarify, and the reason that you would basically consider DDR4 is if you're under a budget constraint.
Yeah,
DDR5 definitely is going to be pricier and harder to get. I feel like there's going to be limited availability initially. But you know what? We live in a world where, we just saw Switch say they're cutting their production by 25%. I mean, we have chip shortages across the board. So it seems like any hardware is going to be hard to get. Doesn't matter what it is. Toasters.
But yeah, this is a thoroughly next generation platform. It's nice to see, generational performance improvements like this, competition is good. It keeps everybody on their toes. It keeps products, it keeps people innovating. It's better for us as consumers. So it's really cool to see, it's really cool to see Intel sort of back on top to some extent, because it's going to spur everybody else.
Competition from Intel. They also showed off very briefly a little bit of the XeSS. Or I don't know how you say it, ZSS. Some of their super sampling tech, and they kind of, I think, confirmed that it's going to be in Hitman 3 and the Rift Breaker. When their graphics cards come out, those titles will support, hopefully, this ZSS. And they had a little bit of video footage of it.
Rift Breaker needs it. That game is actually quite hefty. I was surprised. Yeah, it needs it. So that's good.
I mean, I feel like a lot of games need it these days.
Yeah,
it's amazing how much like hardware has made, like the graphics cards have made such huge leaps this generation.
But the games are rolling right with it. They're just pushing.
They are, and especially if you're playing at high frame rates and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
Like, I want to just turn on DLSS and get as many frames as I possibly can.
With everybody jumping up
noticeable drop in image quality
to 144 hertz or more and going up to 1440p to 4K, I mean, the demand is much higher. But that's cool. That's great news. I just want to address a question in chat really quick. Somebody said they just purchased a Claymore 2 and they wanted to know how I feel about it. I mean, I've been using this keyboard for months now, and I dread changing keyboards. I have truly fallen in love with this. It's the first wireless keyboard I've ever used, and it's really cool. And I have actively removed the numpad and just slapped it on the left side when I play FPS games. I find that makes a big difference because you get all that additional real estate when you have all that extra space for if you're right-handed, for your mouse. But yeah, no, I love it, and I like the blue switches. They're noisy. I thought I would dislike going away from browns, but honestly, I've adjusted, and I really like the blue switches. These are the in-house ROG RX switches.
I'm a little mad that I ordered the Falchion instead of the Claymore, but it's really hard. It's like Sophie's Choice. They're both so awesome for different reasons.
They're polar opposites on the spectrum, though, too.
Yeah.
Sort of, but with the removable numpad, the Claymore 2 is like also still kind of a TKL when you want it to be, which is actually the size that I usually use. It's a lot. It's hard.
But yeah, it's really cool. So yeah, I think is there any other tech news? Because I was just gonna say, like, speaking of upgrading and new CPUs that are awesome and reasons to like build a new computer, that sort of brings us into today's
it does, because this was inspired by high frame rates, right, Jeff?
Yeah. Or an experience I'm having recently with helping people build new systems.
Right. So the idea, right, is that a lot of us, especially like the first few times we go to build a PC, we don't always make the most well-rounded decisions. Or we just make mistakes, right?
Yeah, you're not thinking about the entire setup.
So first things first, nowadays we have a tool that growing up we didn't have. PCPartPicker.com is an incredible tool.
Man, I wish I had that.
I know, seriously. But it's an incredible tool to help you make sure that you don't have any parts that are incompatible. How many people have bought a motherboard and a graphics card and all these components, and then the case was too small, or they, there's a million examples of just things not working together. The PSU not being sufficient.
Cooler and RAM height being too close together, stuff like that you just never think about the first time you build or the fifth time you build, honestly. Like, I just can't be like bothered to think about that kind of stuff half the time.
I do want to just announce that we are going to start the giveaway on Twitch, so I'm going to
let's do that.
Get that going. But anyways, let's continue.
I mean, I'll say this first, and I put this in our little show notes doc just because I wanted to bring it up. If you are building a PC for the first or the second or the third time, it's not like IKEA furniture where you think like, I'll skim the manual and then just like put it together the way it looks. Like, there is so much useful stuff in the manual that actually matters, and you actually need to have it in your hands when you are building. Because things like putting the RAM sticks in the wrong slots, so it's only running a single channel, will kill your performance. You might it's like you put them in the wrong, even if you put it in dual channel, if you put it in the wrong pair of slots. Which is a thing I've seen happen over and over. So it's like, read the manual Yeah.
Like sit down with it, grab a cup of coffee. Yeah, sit down with it. Before you do anything else. Just pull it out of the box, sit down with it, grab a cup of coffee or your favorite beverage, page through it.
When I built my first PC, I probably spent 4 or 5 hours trying to figure out why the PC wouldn't work because I had the RAM in A and B slot. And it's just like, to me, that seems right. The first 2 slots, as an inexperienced builder, that seems correct, but nope.
It's not.
Nope, not how you want to do it.
You'll also definitely need the manual to plug in those front panel connectors.
Yes.
I mean, so Jake, I actually have a worse story. I have a bunch of bad stories, but this is my first one. First PC I ever built. I don't know why, but the power supply had a floppy connector on it for like powering a floppy drive. And I looked in the manual and I saw something that looked like that thing going into the motherboard. So I plugged my power supply's floppy header or floppy power cable into a fan header on the motherboard, and the computer wouldn't start. And it took me hours to figure out why. I didn't know what it was. I just said, this looks like a thing that goes here. And I plugged it in.
I'm trying to think if I've ever built a PC with a floppy drive on it. I don't think I ever put a floppy drive on it.
It was in 2009. Like, this was long.
Why did you have a floppy drive?
I didn't. I just had a power connector for a floppy drive on this like power supply.
There's probably people in the chat that don't even know what a floppy drive is. Like,
the other thing that I'll mention about the manual before we move on to the really good stuff. Download a PDF of the manual and just keep it in your Dropbox or whatever, because you will be referring back to that thing over the years. Keep the build in PC Part Picker, because you will be referring back to that to be like, that is a big RAM did I have?
Yeah, name it. Like, create the build. Yeah, on PC Part Picker, you make an account, you create a build, you name it. I always put the when I built it, so I'll put fall 2021 Jake PC is what I'll name it, right? And then I'll make one for my wife, and it'll be Allison 2021 PC. And then I always know like what they are, what components I use, and
like,
so on.
I know people listening to this think that this is like the nerd version of disaster prepping. Like, really, am I ever going to use that? Like, you will refer to that thing multiple times over the next 4 years. It is not like dumb, just in case stuff. Like, you will use it, guaranteed. Do it now. And
especially because like with hardware really retaining its value quite well, it makes it easier for me to kind of know exactly what that PC was. And then if I'm like thinking I want to be planning to upgrade, I have a quick sheet reference of everything I have to sell, because I'm going to try to sell off old parts, right? So eBay is your friend, especially with PC parts. I've got a 1080 ready to ship out, and that thing is...
Dude, I've sold broken parts on eBay for like decent little amount of money, because like not scamming people, but like people buy like broken graphics cards and stuff on eBay for parts.
People can recycle things, and you can exactly.
Totally. So, okay, should we run the giveaway and then Jeff can go on his?
I'm
really looking forward to this.
Close entries and picking winner. The Polmasis,
putting you on the spot.
Polmasis, Polmasas. Polmasis, please type in chat to confirm your giveaway. We'll add you to our giveaway.
Show us you're here.
Excuse me.
Woot. Okay, that'll do. Congratulations.
Woot.
You win giveaway number 1. We will have another giveaway at the end of the stream.
All right. Jeff, please share with us the thing that inspired this entire topic.
Okay. So I have some friends that are upgrading their setups to like take advantage of VR and stuff, which is cool. Yeah, it's absolutely cool. But I was like, okay, so I've looked over this. I've looked over this parts list from our Powered by Asus partner, iBuyPower. Shout out to them. I looked over this parts list. I confirmed everything was good. It's like, yeah, go ahead and buy this. Everything is all right. And then I was like, but what's your monitor? And they were like, well, it's it's like some 60 hertz thing, some 14, maybe 1440p or 1080p thing, 60 hertz.
You hear 60 hertz in PC gaming, and you just say, hold on.
So
go plug your Xbox into that machine. Like, have fun.
I got a 3080 to play 1080p 60 hertz.
Yeah. So and this PC has a 3070 in it, right?
Oh my gosh.
So I was like, okay, look, you're upgrading your VR headset first. I get that, but like you need a 1440p 165 hertz monitor at a minimum. to take advantage of this on the desktop.
Which
right?
you say that the
like
minimum.
You just flushed money down the toilet.
Yeah.
Like
No, you're wasting your time if you're gaming on with a 60 hertz display.
It's a 1080p 60 hertz display is just that's nothing. People are like, well, it's fine. It's not. It really isn't. So it's like it's like if you're one of these folks who's like fixated on, oh, I need a 3090, oh, I need a 5950X, oh, I need a 12900K or whatever. And you go out, you spend $4,000 on a computer, and you get it all hooked up, and you're still staring at a 1080p 60 hertz monitor. You are wasting incredible amounts of money.
You're giving Jeff aneurysms all the way over in Pennsylvania. I don't know where you live.
I'm in Indiana, but close enough. It's all corn country. So it's like, look. If your graphics card, and we did an article on this recently, if your graphics card is putting out like on average across all these games at 1440p, you're getting 120 frames per second, but you can only see half of that performance because your display can only refresh at 60 hertz.
What are you doing with your life?
What are you doing with your life?
Okay.
And this stuff is not super expensive. If you can put up enough money to like. I understand that people are on budgets. That's fine. If you are, this is not directed at you. We love you regardless. PC building is a warm and accepting community. But if you have the means,
we're specifically talking about people who build really powerful computers.
If
they go way over the budget, like for a 3090, and then it's like you could have just built a cheaper PC and upgraded your monitor and been better off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Or do it all. But it's like, here's the thing, like the monitor I recommend to everybody is the Tough Gaming VG27 AQL1A, which is a 27-inch 165 hertz display. It's really, really nice.
It's a great
display. It's like $350.
And that is like absolutely the sweet spot.
Yeah.
Because like 1440p, you're gonna run pretty well on a 3070, 2080, even a 1080 is gonna do all right.
It's adaptive sync.
Yeah.
It's adaptive sync. So it's like,
which is a big upgrade.
G-Sync compatible. It's G-Sync. Yeah, I mean so it's like monitors last. Right? Monitors last for 10 years. This display or more, and this display will last you through multiple system upgrade cycles. So even as performance improves, it's a G-Sync compatible display. It can take advantage of that stuff. But it's like, so again, if you're not thinking that through, if you're like, oh, I need to upgrade my PC, but my 10-year-old monitor is fine. It's like, oh my god.
It's easy to focus on just the tower and forget about the monitor, mouse, keyboard, all this other stuff.
It's like, all right, so you really do need to start thinking about stuff in terms of like, okay, is my overall system,
holistic
setup,
approach?
Yeah, is my am I able to see all the performance I'm producing? So
now, along similar lines though, this is possibly an even worse PC building sin. Is getting the nice 144 hertz monitor and then forgetting to set it to 144 hertz in Windows. I cannot tell you how often I see threads on Reddit and places where people are like, oh, I bought a 144 hertz monitor 2 years ago and it's been running at 60 hertz this entire time.
So it wasn't like a sin. It wasn't like a sin of performance. It was like more of a sin of omission. But like I literally went through this with my brother recently when we upgraded his PC. He went out to Micro Center, he got the display, got it back. I was like, well, can you see a big difference? He's like, well, no, not really. And I'm like, okay, well, did you look in the control panel and see what refresh rate is set to? And he's like, oh, it was at 60 hertz. It's like, yeah,
it's like the saddest thing.
Yeah,
that's just like the pro tip that everyone needs to know because we can hope Windows 11 has fixed that, but I don't know that it has.
Go into your display settings, make sure it's set to 144 hertz or the NVIDIA or AMD driver settings. The other thing that I see a lot of people do is plugging in their like HDMI port into the motherboard instead of the graphics card.
Oh gosh, well that
because
you'll notice. There's no way you won't
Sinner.
notice that.
Yeah. Well, so here's the thing. You'll notice if you know what you're looking for, right? Some people just think like, wow, this PC must not be as powerful as I thought. I spent $2,000 and it's still only chugging at like 20 frames per second. Like some people, especially people who are like really doing it for the first time,
really
just getting
new
into PC gaming, they're young. Like you just don't know.
You see it, the cable fits.
We've all been there.
Yeah.
Always plug it in. Please, okay, so two things. If you can use DisplayPort, use DisplayPort and plug it into the graphics card.
Right. Not all cables are equal. Not all HDMI cables are equal.
Yeah.
Each HDMI cable is rated for different. And we have HDMI 2.1 now. But
DisplayPort
DisplayPort
makes that a lot simpler.
yes, exactly. So always lean
use
towards
DisplayPort.
DisplayPort. This
Icon
is my
says,
first.
what was the
Sorry, I was going to say
monitor,
this is my
Jeff?
first 144 hertz display, and I was probably set to 60 FPS for 6 months before I figured it out. And I was like so disappointed in the display. I'm like, I spent a few $100 on this, which, $350 or something on a 1080p. This was probably 7 years ago. But yeah, learned my lesson. Whitson, you had a question from chat?
Sorry, so yeah, chat said what they wanted to know the model number of that monitor, VG27AQ. Was that it?
VG Tough Gaming VG27AQL1A.
Oh, I didn't know about all those other letters.
That's fine.
I'm just putting VG27AQ.
How he
That's the
remembers
one-
that,
You know what? I remember it for TVs and on some monitors, but I've still got to get all of ours in our brains.
It's just in my brain now.
Hey,
Some people have the gift.
It has so that one has the fully adjustable stand. There's one that only has tilt as well. It's cheaper.
Okay.
But you want the one. I think you want the one with a fully adjustable.
I
stand
recommend a height adjustable stand because then you can get it up.
Yeah,
my
it's
monitor is
absolutely
actually like all the way down.
yeah, 20. And,
Okay.
Yeah, those are some pretty good sins. Another common sin I see from PC builders doing this for their first time, and again, always read the manual, always watch a build guide. Tools, there's so many tools that exist to help hold your hand, but I made this mistake in my first PC. I learned very quickly that I did something wrong because to me, I've got this whole big tube of thermal compound, gonna lay this bad boy on there. I didn't know that you're supposed to do a small bead. I laid the whole tube on my CPU.
What?
I said, hey, you give me this much. That's how much I use.
Do you also use the whole tube of toothpaste every time you brush your teeth? You go buy like a new thing of toothpaste every day?
Look, it's in the box with the.
Oh my God.
So I just spread it on there.
Yeah.
And, it came out the sides. I pretty much immediately realized,
you made it.
I made a terrible mistake.
This is before everybody was always online. I think maybe I messaged my friend on AIM or something, but I asked a buddy, I was like, hey, man. So he's like, get a credit card or like a plastic card and wipe it off and start fresh. And
keep rubbing alcohol on hand and also,
I don't know.
Super useful tool.
I was like
too traumatizing to have shared in this stream. This is too raw.
I think I was 16 years
Not
old.
safe for work.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
Jake. Okay. There's another one. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say the other thing. Since we're talking about thermal interfaces, if you have an aftermarket CPU cooler, always remember to take the protective cover or label off the bottom because heat does not travel well through plastic.
I think Linus Tech Tips just
did
a video on that recently. They actually tested it with the plastic still on, and I was like, do people do that? But
it doesn't work very well.
I mean,
it'd probably make a mess.
That too.
So again, but to Jake's point, it's okay, so use a small amount of thermal compound. I think everybody gets really hung up on the pattern you're supposed to use, and honestly, I've never seen it make much of a difference.
If you have
it's been
enough
thoroughly
clamping
tested,
force, it'll spread out.
I do the P. It works.
Yeah, right.
It's easy.
I thought you meant you draw a P.
No, it's like the size of a P, a little bead in the center, about the size of a P.
I've always just thought about it in terms of, okay, where's the processor die? Just apply a thin grain of rice size amount, and that's it. Yeah. But I've done some truly horrible things with thermal paste during system testing, where it's okay, the CPU has thermal paste on it from a previous application. The cooler has thermal paste on it from a previous application. I'm just gonna mate these two things together, and it'll work fine.
Oh, Jeff.
It works.
that smile didn't just there. I did it. I'm not ashamed.
I mean, sometimes you need a system up and running, and you need it right now. And there's thermal paste there, and
I do know that
works.
feeling.
So the point is, there's a pretty good margin for error. Just don't put so much on there that it squeezes out, because some of it is conductive and it can fry things because of the surface mount components on stuff. So yeah. There are millions of guides out there on how to do this right and what all the differences are. If that gives you pleasure, more power to you. Go look. Go look. But a single dot or rice grain in the middle of the chip will do you most of the time.
Sorter in chat says you probably eat Kit Kats without breaking them apart too.
I did that yesterday.
I actually do that.
I did that yesterday.
I gave up.
My wife called me a savage.
I broke them apart, and now I'm like, F that.
I'm gonna eat them both anyways.
Yeah, just get as much of a mouthful as I can. I'm one of those people that the way I eat popcorn is by taking a big handful and just as much as goes in my mouth, and the rest goes on the couch.
Oh, that I don't do.
See,
that's how I do it.
I pull the bucket up to my mouth, and my tongue just pulls the kernels in one at a time, or 5 at a cluster at a time.
Okay.
A little off topic, but
the
popcorn eating sins. Okay. Okay. There's a really big sin I want to talk about though.
Okay.
Cheaping out on the power supply.
Hey,
guys, don't.
Why are you shaming
me? Do
it.
The power supply, I know it's like the least sexy part of the build. You get all excited about the processor and the graphics card and the sweet motherboard.
Those new power supplies we just bought are pretty sexy.
We do have some pretty sexy power supplies, but like it's not just. It's like at the bottom of the list. Of the things people are excited to get.
Right.
But that doesn't mean you just get like whatever the cheapest one with the wattage you need. Like, don't do it. First of all, really cheap power supplies can literally be garbage fires.
Yes.
And
as has been found out recently, wink, wink, wink. Not gonna name names, but
moving on. But yeah, better quality power supplies will be more efficient. They'll be quieter because the fans won't have to spin up as often. Modularity. Modular cables are awesome.
Chat, does this count as harassment?
They won't fall over when you run them at their...
Like, you didn't cheap out that.
You didn't cheap out.
I had an 850 watt PSU and it still wasn't enough.
From a reputable brand.
Not ours.
Okay?
Not ours.
Yeah.
This is easy.
Don't go on Newegg and buy the $25 no-name white box thing with the rating on it, because you can be pretty sure that you're not getting what you're paying for.
For the rest of my life, I am in the camp of get a little bit more than you think you need. Because to me, the 850 watt was, again, this is a build that had a 3080 in it, and that was a 3080 Ti. And a Ryzen 5900, and then tons of USB like capture cards and stuff. I've got 4 capture cards in this machine. I've got a PCI one. I've got 3 USB ones. The power draw was too much. I was crashing. I was, periodically, once a week, twice a week. It wasn't like all the time, but my PC was crashing. And we're now 5 weeks into this new PSU, running strong. Not a single crash. So,
in your defense, didn't you have that power supply in the build before you got the 3080? Like, wasn't the whole point was that you had an 850 watt for your old graphics card, and when you upgraded the graphics card, you then needed more power?
I did hope to get a 3080. That was always the goal. So I did intend to have a 3080, and I specifically built this machine.
I was giving you an out to seem less embarrassing.
No. I actually had intended to have the radiator slot occupied for the liquid cooled 3080, because we talked about that being maybe what I would end up with, and here we are with that now. So all works out in the end. But yeah, I think especially with these new GPUs being as monstrous and as powerful as they are, we're also looking at these new Intel CPUs being able to draw more power too, which means more power, more performance as well. We're looking at a world where 1,000 watt PSUs aren't going to be like this unheard of thing anymore, because before, I don't
think it's unreasonable. That's not unreasonable to get, because again, it's also the other thing is like a fully loaded system. Unless you're running like an 80 plus titanium or really just like extremely high grade power supply, like the efficiency of the PSU tends to go down close to maximum load. Like it'll get noisier at maximum load. And so like if you take a system that can draw 500 watts from the wall, say when it's under load, and put a 500 watt PSU in it, that PSU may be fine running that over time because it's rated for it, but the fan will spin up, and the efficiency might not be as good as it could be. Whereas with a 1,000-watt power supply, again, the rule of thumb is like the efficiency curve is best like at the 50%, 60%, and so you're not stressing it as much. You're not stressing the components as much. The fan doesn't have to spin up as much to run anything, and like. Again, fact of life, PSUs do degrade over time. There are components in there that are, subject to degradation from use,
but a good PSU could still last you a couple builds.
Yeah, it does. It absolutely does.
If you buy the right one.
It's not like a big deal. It's just a thing that happens. And so like the rated capacity might go down over time a little bit, and having a little bit extra on there is good.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
But at the same time, we're not saying you should go out and buy a 2,000-watt PSU or a 1,500-watt PSU unless you, I don't know, if you feel like if you're SLIing 3090s,
like
then sure,
60.
yeah, but then you might need crazy amount of power. But everything within reason, and again, PC Part Picker, another great tool to help make those decisions. If you're not
it
sure.
has a little power supply. There are a lot of power supply calculators online where you can punch in your hardware and it'll tell you here's how much
PC
power you're probably going to draw.
Here's what PC Part Picker just does it for you.
It does.
It's a thing.
I also I do that, but I also look at the graphics card, because a lot of graphics cards will come with a power supply recommendation. They'll say like, we recommend a 500 or 750 watt power supply for this GPU, and it's a little bit looser of a recommendation, but I always find that helpful in like giving myself that berth.
Right. So there are two more really big ones here that I think are really good.
Go nuts.
Using a hard drive as your system disk in 2021.
Ooh.
Don't do it, guys. Do not do it.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
It's not just inexcusable. You are literally punching yourself in the face every time
Repeatedly.
you try and every time you try and do anything with your computer.
Yep. Step down the graphics card, get an SSD.
Yeah.
Just to give, and if you guys don't know anything about storage, just to give you the quick rundown, physical hard drives have moving parts, therefore they're much slower. Solid state have no moving parts, are much faster, and now we've got M.2 drives that are even better.
The speed to read that first bit is just, it's orders of magnitude faster on an SSD.
It's with your OS.
Yeah, the random access performance is it's not even comparable. So for bulk storage, hard drives are still fine. That's it's totally okay if you're just like putting movies on something, or even games, if you're just storing games. It's okay.
I still think games should go on an SSD. The texture pop
absolutely
bugs
should.
me.
Your most played games should definitely go on an SSD. But using a hard drive as your system drive it's like you're living in the dark ages.
Yeah.
You're just living in the dark ages. It's physically painful to use a computer with a hard drive as the system drive.
Can you imagine waiting 2-3 minutes for your PC to boot? Like, that's what it used to be like, but that sounds so awful. Because SSDs are not prohibitively expensive anymore.
Yeah, it's like you're just waiting around for. It's like you're waiting around for stuff to happen.
Yeah,
all the time. Launch an app, wait for it to happen. Open a file, wait for it to happen.
Yeah, right.
Load a game. I can play an entire mini game while I'm waiting for Skyrim to load. Like, I remember when I first moved to an SSD and Skyrim's loading screens that have all those tips on them and stuff.
Yeah.
And the loading all of a sudden was so fast that I couldn't read the tip before the level loaded. And I was like, this is the best thing that ever happened.
Yeah.
Right. So it is, if you're planning out your parts list and you're like, well, a terabyte SSD or a terabyte hard drive is fine. Well, that was true a couple years ago, because I still used to recommend them for the very cheapest builds when I wrote system guides. But that was more like 3 to 4 years ago at this point. But we really are at a point now where the cost of solid state storage has dropped to the point where a 512 gigabyte SSD, which is a reasonable size, is like $50. And it's it's not that much, if that. Like, I don't even know, like, how much is a 512? It's just not prohibitive anymore.
Yeah, it's really not.
Especially Black Friday is weeks away. We're going to see really good sales.
But, even normally,
right?
It's just like, okay, my rule of thumb for good SSD price is 10 cents per gig, and like 512 gigabyte SSDs are available all over the place for $50.
First SSD I bought was 80 gigs and it was $200.
Exactly.
It's like more than $2 per gig.
Right.
Yeah.
But
So
yeah,
just use an SSD for your system drive, please.
Do it.
It will.
Please,
It
for the
is.
love of God.
It is no joke. The single biggest thing you can do for your
Hands
PC
down.
performance and responsiveness. There is no question.
No
Nothing
question.
else compares.
talk about
Seriously.
Yeah, bottlenecking your performance. That's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Like, I
right.
mean, that's a good one.
We have 2 product questions in chat that we should address when we start the giveaway, and then we can finish up with the sins. Do you want to start the giveaway?
It is underway. Already ahead.
I just wanted to. Did you want to announce that the giveaway has
The
started?
giveaway has started. I mean, it's on the screen and it's in chat.
So Dark Nightmare Wolf says, "Does Asus have headsets, and what's the best one?" The answer is yes, we do. Jeff's got the Delta S.
The Delta Core.
The Delta
this
Core.
is the part of the Delta series.
The Delta S is the newer version of that.
Yes.
I've got a Delta S RGB coming in hopefully soon.
Right.
And I'm very much looking forward to it.
We make
Delta
a wide
series
variety of them.
Yeah, they're USB-C. I think they come with 2 sets of ear pads, don't they? At least the new ones do, which is really cool. So you can choose between the leather pads, which isolate a little bit better, or you can get like a kind of more velour type ear pad that isn't quite as isolating, but is really comfortable. They're USB-C, but they have a USB-A adapter, so it has the USB digital analog converter built in, which is awesome.
Yeah. And
They're nice.
we just announced the Delta S Animate,
which is
it's the Delta S Animate has our Anime Matrix displays on the ear cups. So like you can display custom graphics and animations and text on the sides of your headset.
Like
so if you're like on stream, if you're on stream, if you have a face cam and you want to flip, you can do that. And you can show off your little messages
you can show it
on
off,
the sides.
Jake.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, it doesn't want to be the right
look
size,
at that.
but that's okay.
But you can create custom animations for it too.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah.
It doesn't have to say ROG. Like you can make it.
No, you can create this whole thing. That's the whole idea with the anime.
Yeah.
Display.
Oh yeah, here it goes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Super cool. And then there's also we have the Strix Go headsets, which you can get I think in wireless or wired varieties. They're a little bit more affordable, a little bit.
Yeah. Or if you go out a lot and
with a 3.5
need something
millimeter.
Yeah,
it'll work with your phone.
We got a ton of headsets.
Yes.
Yeah.
So go check them out. The other question is, have any of you guys tried the ROG Zephyrus Duo 15? What are your thoughts about it? I have not, but I know you guys have.
Jake.
This guy right here. I streamed with it.
You still have it.
I streamed with it on Tuesday on this channel.
Oh, did you?
And it's a beauty. I mean, it's just so badass to have the secondary display. I think as a streamer or content creator, especially if you're someone that travels or doesn't have like a powerhouse desktop, this is the only device I would bring with me. For on the road, obviously being able to read Twitch chat while streaming is a must. You like literally can't stream on Twitch without engaging with your community, because what's the point? But yeah, no, it's really just incredible. And there's a lot of cool applications. Obviously, Microsoft Flight Sim has some cool integrations with that secondary display, where you can take some of the flight controls of the actual airplane and put it on the touchscreen, and then use the touchscreen when you're playing. If I was talking about, like, say that you just picked up Age of Empires 4 and you're loving it and you want to go competitive and you want to play on ladder online against other people, learning build orders is a challenge. And having that build order on the screen, like go to a website, look up the build you want to learn, put it on that secondary screen, and then you have a little guide telling you, okay, when I've got 14 supply, I need to build my barracks. And you have all that information right there. I'm going a little RTS nerd on here, but there's strategies for other games, and or just your Discord call. If that's all you want. You want your Discord call on the lower screen? Easy peasy.
Once you've got dual monitors on the desktop, it's hard to just use laptops. I just find using a laptop difficult now because I'm so used to dual monitors, and so something like the Duo is just so cool.
Yeah.
All right, Jeff, here's a question for you. Best Asus monitor for PS5. 27 to 32 inch size, HDMI 2.1, 120 hertz, and good HDR.
And and good.
If you want like really really good HDR, you're looking at the top end monitors.
So if you want all that stuff, you have to buy the PA32 UCG, which is
which is expensive but glorious.
It's not just expensive; it's the price of small car.
I'd rather have it than a car. I can walk places.
Yeah. But anyway, to honestly answer that question, if we can relax the HDR requirement, the Tough Gaming VG28 UQL1A is a good starting point. Because that's
stop pushing tough stuff. Push ROG stuff.
Man,
this isn't Tough Pulse. This is ROG Pulse.
To be honest.
Okay, so look. Okay, so
Tough
if you want
monitors
the ROG,
are really
they are really good. The price point is really good.
If you want the ROG's, I think it's the Strix. Is it a Swift? I think it's a Strix. The PG32 UQ, it's a Swift. Sorry. Okay, so the ROG Swift PG32 UQ is the 30. This is the really cool monitor that just came out for this kind of thing. It's 32-inch 4K, 144 hertz, has HDMI 2.1 for the PS5. It display HDR 600 certification. I would check that one out first.
Yeah.
If you're into that, but if you can relax the HDR requirement a little bit, the Tough Gaming VG28 UQL1A is again 28 inches, 144 hertz, HDMI 2.1, not display HDR 600, but that's an excellent starting point. And again, you can use these with your PC too. You can have multiple inputs set up. So like that nice. This is, for the price that the VG28 UQL1A is very difficult to ignore for that use case. So
knowledge. All right. We closed entries. We're going to pick 2 winners for the giveaway. This is for another $20 Games Planet voucher. Zampat number 1. Zampat, please confirm in chat. Congrats. We're just going to wait for that confirmation before we draw one more.
Yeah, God of Death was just, how does Jeff remember all those monitor models?
I know
monitors are Jeff's obsession.
A legend.
I've written about a lot of these, and so they stick in my head.
I reviewed a lot of monitors for the past few years, and it kind of gets in your head.
Honestly, there is a system like these aren't. I mean, it looks. I'll be frank here. It does look a little like random, but once you understand that there's a decoder ring for this, like. Let's the VG28 VG28 28 inches, U means 4K. I forget what Q means. I think that's the refresh rate. It's and then there's a few other things, but once you get that in your head, it's like, oh, I can decode this.
Yeah, I know. Then you can just think of the specs in your head and you just make up the model number as you go.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of TVs are the same way too.
Yeah, TVs are atrocious.
Our second winner is Glacial Hell. Glacial Hell, please confirm.
Glacial Hell. Congratulations.
I want to enter Glacial Hell with a Z690 Extreme Glacial Hell. That's what I want.
Glacial Hell is actually, it's referring to my hometown of Detroit. It's just so cold that you're like, am I in hell?
I wonder how Detroit compares to.
I'm just kidding. Actually, Detroit's not nearly as bad as probably Chicago because it's on the lake, or a lot of Minnesota where it gets just like blisteringly cold. Like Detroit's actually not that bad.
Glacial Hell hasn't confirmed. We'll give you another 15 seconds.
Please confirm.
Yeah. Is Glacial Hell frozen?
Oh, there it is. Okay. All right.
Oh.
Congrats. Terrible jokes.
Come visit me on my Twitch channel, Dad Jokes.
God, could you imagine twitch.tv/dad jokes and it's literally just like an endless
somebody would consume it. Somebody would consume it.
I mean, many of us would.
Yeah, so the last big thing that I think people do, we talked about putting memory in the right slots. So that's one. Putting memory in the right slots is step 1. Actually going into your firmware and enabling your overclocked memory, not forgetting to do that, is a really important step with modern processors. Because if you buy, if assuming you're in like the DDR4 3200, 3600 range, most CPUs can take just take the XMP profile and go. By the way, XMP stands for Extreme Memory Profile. It's a whole program that I think Intel spearheaded with memory manufacturers to create overclocking profiles. By the way, it is still overclocking. It can fail. XMP is not a guarantee. which is why if you buy DDR4 like 5,000 memory and it says 1.5 volts and you enable XMP and it doesn't work, it's like, well, we kind of expected you to know what you were doing,
like
and you're an overclocker. And
yeah. Big
you're an overclocker. You're an overclocker, and you're gonna do something more than the.
But if you get some like decent DDR4 3200 or something,
most CPUs should be able to.
You should be okay, and you can run a memtest 86 or something like that to make sure it's stable.
But more to the point, I mean, it's something that's well understood, it's well characterized. You should be able to just go into the BIOS. I think it's in our Extreme Tweaker menu. There's a mode drop down, and you just put it into XMP, and it'll work. Yep, but if you forget to do that, you can end up leaving significant amounts of performance on the table for both regular desktop tasks and gaming. So like, especially within a lot of these memory kits, they default to like DDR4 2133 or DDR4 2400, just because that is the industry standard. The industry standards body JEDEC defines that as the standard, and it's real slow.
I'm sitting here wondering if I'm sinning as we speak, because I've had horrible experiences trying to overclock memory where I just go too far, or I'm just bad at it. I'm just a horrible overclocker.
This is what XMP is for.
Yeah, that's what XMP is supposed to be doing.
I could be wrong. It's been a while since I set this PC up, but
on some AMD boards it can be called DOCP. DOCP. Some AMD boards still call it XMP, even though that's technically like Intel's thing. And
Asus calls it DOCP.
I'm probably good,
motherboards.
But I'm gonna go check after this product.
Jake, it's not a hard thing to check. It's either on or it's not.
Yep.
So you just hop into your firmware interface, check out the Extreme Tweaker menu, and see if DOCP is enabled. And if it's not, just click it on, save your settings, go out, and you're done.
Okay.
It's really pretty simple.
All right, love it.
But if you don't do that, again, like especially with AMD CPUs, where the sort of entire base clock of the processor, or the at least a significant portion of the clocks are tied to the RAM speed, for like the memory controller and the on-die fabric and stuff. If you don't enable XMP or DOCP, you can end up losing a lot of performance just because the chip is, it's running at the speed of the memory. So if you leave it at DDR4 2133, you're just bottlenecking the CPU's overall performance terribly. So again,
let me tell you
don't want to forget.
When you kill your performance like that, it mega hurts.
Oh God, the dad jokes. We didn't ask for this.
Can I share one more sin?
Yes.
This is a pretty bad one. It's quick. When you build your first PC, don't spend all day troubleshooting the networking only to find out that you forgot to plug in the Ethernet cable.
Oh my God.
I'm not speaking from direct experience or anything, but I've read that it's bad to not plug everything in and then get frustrated for the rest of the day, wondering why it's not working.
Yeah.
So that's my tip.
I guess
PC building tips, they're for free.
Another good tip is, before you go and you perfectly cable manage and get everything nice and pretty, make sure it works. Plug everything in.
Yeah.
Make sure everything runs. Then shut it down, unplug it, and do your cable management. Because if you I even recommend testing it outside the case first.
Plug in your CPU, RAM, power supply outside the case. Just put it on your motherboard box and make sure everything posts before you build it. Because you can build everything inside the case, and then oh my God,
anti-static is your friend. There's a lot of tips we could give, but this is more about sins. But we are out of time. We're definitely well over the hour mark, and we've got meetings that we must attend.
Yeah. Well, that nicely wraps it up there anyway. So
yes.
Well, on that note, tomorrow we will be playing Back for Blood again, getting the same group together as last week, and continue on into Act 3 and beyond, hopefully.
I'm psyched.
Yeah, it'll be us plus Lane, so that'll be a lot of fun. And
plus Lane, the guy who carries all of us.
I know.
Yeah.
Hey, I did all right last week, but I'm gonna change guns up. I'm not running sniper. I'm gonna go shoddy, I think, so I can go just full ham. Shoddy / melee is gonna be my play. full
Dude,
melee.
I did that the second half of the last stream, and it was really fun. You get some nice knife bonuses, and you're just close range all the time. It very much fits your YOLO playstyle.
I'm curious if the healing buffs and stuff that I have will... I don't know if I can get like AoE healing from my melee hits. I'm going to see if I can make a build like that, where every time I kill someone with melee, I heal you guys. Imagine that.
That would be sweet.
I don't know if that's
exists,
viable. I don't know if it exists, but it sounds cool.
I would appreciate it.
Back for biscuits. That's the game we're playing. We're back for more biscuits, and there's never enough biscuits to eat. And we've got some other awesome stuff in the plans. We've got some really, really badass streams in the works that we will be announcing soon. But till next time, I thank you all for tuning in. GG's.
Yep.
Thanks for all the sins. I'm gonna go make sure I'm not squandering my RAM performance.
Yeah.
And we'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.
Later.